I preached this sermon on Thursday at the nursing home previously known as Seminary Home, now St. Crispin. And it was very interesting reading the gospel there where it talked about when you were younger, you went where you wanted, but when you get older, they'll put a belt around you and lead you where you do not want to go. Yeah, that's our future. Now, after reading this, all seriousness aside, that's good. Seriously, isn't this weird, this story where it is? I mean, last week we were in an upper room. Jesus appears to the disciples. First time, Thomas isn't there. They all see the resurrected Jesus. They all believe. Then Thomas is there. Now Thomas is believing too. And then we get this story after it in John, and it seems like they don't even know about the resurrection yet. And you're probably asking, how is that? And I'll tell you, I don't know. And we talked about this at our pastor's Bible study, and we said, well, we don't know, but as Pastor Justin stated, it's in the Bible, we have to deal with it. So we're going to deal with it. But I must say that this story contains one of my favorite Bible verses. I wish that I had realized this when I was in confirmation. I could have picked this as one of my favorite Bible verses. It's in verse 3, where Simon Peter says to them, "I am going fishing." And the other said, "We will go with you." Nobody else likes that verse. You know what they say? Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll never work again. Seriously, this story is very, very rich, and you could speak on this for many, many weeks in lots of different possibilities. But I want to talk about one thing. I want to talk about charcoal fire. Now, in the Bible, I found two instances of charcoal fire. This is one of them, where Jesus is grilling with his disciples, grilling some fish for breakfast. The other instant in John, we just had. Does anybody remember where we had this charcoal fire?
The priest's courtyard.
Right. Jesus is arrested. He's brought to the high priest Annas, and he is questioned. And Peter is huddled by the charcoal fire, trying to stay warm, and he is questioned. Jesus tells the truth. Peter lies. He denies knowing Jesus. Jesus had predicted that he would deny him, and Peter said, "No way, there's no way I will deny you." And Jesus says, "Yes, there is. Not only once, but 3 times you'll deny me before the cock crows, before sunrise, you'll deny me." And here we are, next to the charcoal fire, and Peter is being questioned again. "Peter, do you love me?" Jesus asks. "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Feed my lambs." "Peter, do you love me?" Jesus asks the second time. "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Tend my sheep." "Peter, do you love me?" Jesus says a third time. Now, Peter is upset because he asks him a third time. Upset because he keeps asking them the same question over and over again? Or upset because he asked him the third time, like the 3 times that Peter denied him. The 3 times that Peter had betrayed him, said that I don't know Jesus. Now, what I think the gospel writer left out is the sigh. The third time, "Peter, do you love me?" the sigh of recognition, the sigh that the jig is up. Maybe Peter forgot that he denied Jesus. You know, excuse the language, but all hell was breaking loose. Jesus was arrested. Peter could have been next. And maybe he didn't even realize he was denying Jesus just to save his own skin. Or maybe all this time he's been trying to forget that he denied Jesus. Peter answers, "Yes, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. Feed my sheep." Now, there's two reasons I really love this story. One is, Peter isn't perfect. Peter isn't perfect. He's a human being just like you and me, and he makes mistakes, big mistakes. Imperfect as he is, apparently he is able to be commissioned to work for Jesus. We can be followers of Jesus like Peter. Don't think you're smart enough? Well, I don't think Peter was the brightest bulb on the tree either. Second reason I love this reading and I love Peter. Peter's my favorite disciple. Jesus reminds Peter of what he did. Jesus forgives him, but he does more than forgive him. He gives this guy who has proven that he is weak, proven that he is disloyal, proven that he can't be trusted. Yet he entrusts him with the greatest job in the kingdom. Take care of the people of God. If Peter can do that, we can do that. Taking care of God's people isn't just a commission that Peter gets. It's the commission of every Christian. I wouldn't say that Peter is a role model of how to be a Christian. But then again, maybe he is. Because we all screw up. Peter screwed up. We all screw up. We all fail Jesus. But Jesus doesn't disown us. He doesn't disown Peter. He doesn't disown us. He knows everything, and yet he loves us and forgives us. You ever feel unworthy of God's love? Think of Peter. Ever know anybody that feels unworthy of God's love? Tell them about Peter. Ever feel that because of what you did, what you didn't do, that there's no way God could forgive me or love me or trust me? Well, I don't know. Did you ever spend every day for 3 years with Jesus, and then when the going gets tough, deny you ever knew him and run away? That's what Peter and the disciples did. And maybe you did. Well, maybe you did it just like the disciples. Well, then you're in good company. You're in the company of the saints. Loved, forgiven by God, and commissioned to do God's work in the world. Now, today, we baptized and commissioned Riley. You know, maybe we should use that word commission more when we're talking about baptism, because baptism is something for our faith to hold on to as we do the work of God in the world, right? You think Riley is going to be without error? You think she's going to just live this perfect life? I mean, besides her parents, do you all think that she will? No, her parents know that she's not perfect. None of us are perfect. We'll pray that she never makes a mistake. But she is loved and forgiven as she serves God in this world. Now, I I don't know if it still is, but there's this television advertisement for GM parts. These mechanics always use these GM parts, genuine GM parts. And the idea is that these are the right parts, perfect parts. All other parts would be inferior. Well, when it comes to work in the world, you know what kind of parts Jesus uses? Genuine GM parts. God-made parts. Now, even though God made them, apparently we're not perfect. The parts are not perfect. You and I are not perfect. But the mechanic is. The one who will use those parts, Jesus Christ, He is perfect. And that's who we're putting our trust in, right? And apparently He's putting His trust in us too. Have a great week. You are loved, you are forgiven by God through Jesus Christ.